My lords, the integrated review in many ways acknowledges with greater force than we've seen before from a UK government the arguments the Green Party's been making for decades, that security can only be achieved in a stable environment, and that the climate emergency and the nature crisis are a threat to all of our futures. That's driven home today with the Hadd-Krutz 5 global temperature series, showing the average global temperature for 2020 was 1.3 degrees, plus or minus 0.1 degrees, above pre-industrial levels. Much of the overarching rhetoric of the integrated review could have been written by the intellectual thought leaders in this area, the Rethinking Security Network. But as many noble lords have pointed out, the text fails to acknowledge or make difficult choices. It fails to meet its ambition to set a path for the next 10 years. I'm going to briefly pick up three elements the noble lord the minister highlighted in his introduction. First, science and technology. The review talks about us being a world leader and innovator, something that the government frequently majors on, but in such a narrow range of fields. The minister referred to artificial intelligence and renewables. Now, I can't disagree with the last, but ask a farmer, a person crucial to food security, or an ecologist, crucial to the nature-based solutions to the climate emergency that the government likes to talk about, what science they need, and it's not those. Protecting our soils, using agroecological systems for food production, managing our fresh waters and seas, understanding the complexity of life on Earth are absolutely fundamental to security. There are an estimated 1.7 million undiscovered types of viruses in vertebrates. We have brilliant experts in this and many other fields. Let's celebrate and fund them, not just to treat the diseases after they've arisen, but to understand the underlying systems. Secondly, the noble lord the minister spoke in an unqualified way about trade, delivering jobs and prosperity. I'd fundamentally question that assertion. We've come to the end of a period of massive explosion in global trade and are in an insecure, poverty-stricken, environmentally trashed world. And the harm done by some trade is obvious. The Stockholm International Peace Research Institute tells us that sales of arms and military services by the largest 25 companies totaled $361 billion in 2019. Included in that, of course, are our sales to Saudi Arabia, a regime with one of the worst human rights records on this planet, and, of course, a key proponent in the dreadful war destroying Yemen. Thirdly, aid. I'm really quite astonished that the noble lord the minister chose to highlight the government's prioritising of girls' education on the day that Save the Children concludes that spending on education for girls will be reduced by 25% in 2021 compared to 2019-20. Perhaps the minister can confirm if that's correct. It's a long-time Green Party policy to lift that aid figure to 1%, clearly the direction of greater security. Finally, I come to the astonishing, deeply disturbing changes in nuclear doctrine and practice, and I'd associate myself particularly with the comments of the noble Lord Brown of Ladyton and others who've questioned this. Some observers have pointed out that lifting a cap is not lifting numbers. If this is just an empty gesture, a rhetorical firebrand, playing tough to a domestic audience in the culture war, then it is a truly dangerous and immoral one. If it is a real plan to increase the number of these hideous weapons of mass destructions, then it is also deeply dangerous and immoral, as is the widening of the doctrine for their use. This review is glancing in a new direction for security, and yet it's firmly continuing to wade forward through the swamp of inequality, militarism, and environmental destruction. Thank you, my lords.